What is that?
Spent casing.
Okay. Moving over to the right of photo marker number 5, what is that?
A spent casing.
Did you collect both of those 2 spent casings?
That is correct.
From bloody clothing to spent shell casings, we're taking a closer look at the 7 most crucial pieces of evidence in the YNW Melly double murder case and what it means for both sides. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Gillespie. So for the state of Florida, it's a case nearly 5 years in the making, with Jamell Demons, better known as YNW Melly, now charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. His co-defendant, 22-year-old Cortland Henry, otherwise known as YNW Bortland, faces the same charges. Demons and Henry are charged with killing their friends and co-members of their YNW collective, 19-year-old Christopher Thomas, also known as YNW Juvy, and 21-year-old Anthony Williams, who went by YNW Sakchaser. According to prosecutors, Henry pulled up to a Miramar, Florida hospital on October 26, 2018, saying Thomas and Williams were bleeding out in his vehicle. He alleged it was a drive-by shooting, but when officials reached the vehicle, Thomas and Williams were already dead with gunshot wounds to their heads and torsos. Investigators later found surveillance video of both victims, Henry and Demons, at a recording studio before the shooting. Detectives say blood spatter evidence and cell phone data prove all 4 were together the night of the murders. Demons was then arrested in February 2019. Only a few days into the trial, and we're already seeing some key pieces of evidence for the state's case. Jurors have already gotten an inside look into the vehicle where Thomas and Williams were allegedly shot.
What are we looking at in here? I'm going to zoom in here to the hood area.
That is another piece of evidence tape used to seal the vehicle in the same way that we sealed the premises prior to a search warrant. The vehicle and all of its entries are sealed prior to the search warrant being executed.
So, for example, now looking at the screen down here at the bottom of the passenger side doors, that red item, is that the same evidence tape we've been looking at?
Yes, it is.
The evidence went into greater detail as jurors were shown the back seat of that vehicle. The evidence appeared to show blood stains covering the seats and the center console.
What are we looking at?
This is the rear passenger side seat as well as the rear center console, pin cup holders, and partial of the rear driver's side seat.
This area in the center with the 2 Sprite cans, is that how you found it, in the down position?
Yes.
As to photo marker number 10, did you collect the 2 Sprite cans that were there?
Yes, I did.
Going on to the rear of the vehicle, photo markers 12, 13, and 14. Did you collect the various items listed in this photo?
Yes, I did.
Did you have help and assistance in processing this vehicle?
Yes, I did.
Who helped you?
Crime scene technician Tara Carroll.
Did you guys have a plan of attack as to how to process the vehicle?
We split up the vehicle into certain sections, and each processed those areas of the vehicle and collected the items that were in relation to those areas.
So it's clear to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, what section were you assigned?
I was assigned to the driver's side of the vehicle.
In terms of these photographs, they were all taken by you. Is that a correct statement?
Correct.
Moving on to item number 18 and 17. Did you collect those 2?
Yes, I did.
19 and 20 as shown here. Did you collect those?
Yes, I did.
But it wasn't just blood in the backseat of the vehicle presented as evidence. Prosecutors also pulled photos of the victim's clothing covered in blood and showing bullet holes.
What's item J?
Picture of the jean jacket that was provided by medical staff of the deceased, or from the deceased.
With regards to this next photo of item J, there is an arrow indicating a circular area. Are you able to tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury if that is or is not a distressed portion of the jacket or is some sort of bullet defect?
Based on my experience in training, it appears to be something similar to a bullet hole.
Okay. With regards to the arrows, is that where you're putting those on there?
That is correct.
Moving on to the back of item J, is that how it looked when you collected it?
That is correct.
Based on your training and experience as a crime scene investigator, does the appearance of blood change over time as it's stored in evidence?
That is correct.
That's still the same jacket that we have in evidence?
That is correct.
Aside from the gruesome, bloody photos displayed to the jury, the state also called witnesses to testify about the alleged location of the shooting. Here's Morgan Curry describing what was seen in those photos.
So I want to go back to item number 1, back on the south side. Can you describe what we're looking at in this photo here with photo marker number 1?
Yes. The shell casing, spent casing, that is it.
Okay. That's that particular item?
That is correct.
Was this item collected?
Yes, it was.
Why do you take multiple photographs from different angles of these items?
Just to get an overall depiction of the specific item, and then also accounting for lighting or better visibility of the item.
And the glass appearing object underneath the casing, did you collect any of that specific glass right there?
I do not believe we did.
Why not?
I think after discussing with the investigators, did not believe that it was in reference or pertaining to the case item.
Okay. Did it have any characteristics of auto glass?
Objection beyond the scope
If she
of
knows.
her expertise.
I first establish that she may know something about this.
So, Investigator Curry, and part of your training in crime scene, is it determining what evidence may be something that would be to collect?
Yes, it is.
In terms of the facts of the case, is that something that you're familiar with and you familiarize yourself with to know what types of evidence may exist?
Correct.
For glass and glassware, do you have any training in identifying potential sources of glass or other items that may be of evidence you're done?
Yes, I do.
With regards to the glass in the Jeep that was found at the hospital, have you had the opportunity to view that Jeep prior to November 21st of 2018?
Yes, I have.
The glass that was in the Jeep, was that consistent with the glass that's there in this photo marker number 1?
No, it was not.
Moving on to photo markers, and so for this is the establishing shot for which 4 photo markers?
4, 5, 6, and 7.
Okay. Going to the close-up of photo marker number 4. What was the important item of evidence in this photo?
Spent casing.
Okay. There's a scale on each photo marker. Why is that?
We're able to document the size of the specific item on the picture or that we're photographing.
And are all of these items later on collected?
Yes, they are.
Going on to photo marker number 5. I'm going to start with the item to the left here. What is that?
Spent casing.
Okay. Moving over to the right of photo marker number 5. What is that?
Spent casing.
Did you collect both of those 2 spent casings?
That is correct.
Okay. And in terms of another view of these 2 casings on number 5, is that what we're looking at here?
That is correct.
Moving on to photo marker number 6. What? I'm going to move into the closer up one for photo marker number 6. I'm going to start to the one to the left. What is that?
Spent casing.
Okay. Is that the same one that was next to photo marker number 5?
Not to my knowledge.
And to the right of photo marker number 6?
It's another spent casing.
After the shooting, or as the defense claims drive-by shooting took place, surveillance video shows the moment where YNW Bortland arrives at Memorial Hospital Miramar with YNW Juvy and Sakchaser in his car. The state's witnesses testified that Juvy and Sakchaser were already dead by the time they arrived at the hospital. First responders testified the area was sealed off and treated as a crime scene.
What are we seeing on the screen right now?
So this is the sidewalk portion I was telling you about. Immediately on the bottom left corner of the screen, where you see those white dashes, that's where the cars drive through. Those dashes are for them to see pedestrians as they're walking across into the yard. Then there's a sidewalk portion, and these are the two doors of the ER. The left door on the left side of the video is the ER, the adult entrance, and the right is the pediatric entrance, but it's one big area. And then in the middle is the park bench. Right behind that glass is a security desk. I'm sitting in the middle of both of those doors.
And that subject that we see in the video,
That's the gentleman that the clerk is making.
continuing to publish? Is this the where you indicated to us earlier that you had him sit down, Cortland Henry?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you can't see the Jeep in the video frame, is that correct?
Yes.
The Jeep would be located at the bottom left, my left of the
Yes.
screen?
Yes.
Okay. And I noticed that you approached and you were talking into something. What was that?
That's my patrol radio.
Okay. Was that your how you were able to request assistance?
Yes, ma'am.
And it's additional surveillance video that puts Melly with both victims ahead of the shooting. But jurors also heard ballistic testimony from crime scene investigators who gave a visual representation of how the bullets traveled in the vehicle.
As you were saying, explain to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, what are these green, red items that are now in the back seat of the Jeep?
These are called trajectory rods, and like I said, they are used to show the approximate path of the projectile when it struck the surface.
How many trajectory rods are in this photo that we're looking at here?
There are 7.
Going forward to the next photograph, what are we looking at here?
This is the opposite side of the rear passenger side seat, showing the trajectory rods coming through.
Objection.
Same objection?
Yes, sir.
Overruled.
Again, showing what?
Showing the trajectory rods coming through the back of the rear passenger seat and through to the front of the rear passenger side seat.
And can you explain to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury how you place them?
The trajectory rods are placed through one defect, pass through the object, and then through the other defect on the opposite side.
YNW Melly's trial is just getting started, and the prosecution has already presented some pretty significant evidence. But will this be enough for the jury to find Melly guilty beyond a reasonable doubt? And how will Melly's defense argue this evidence? That's all we have for you on Sidebar. Thanks so much for joining us. Please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Gillespie. We'll see you next time.